The Cincinnati Reds got exactly what they hoped for from Rhett Lowder.
You are Locked On Reds, your daily Cincinnati Reds podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi there, welcome in. I'm Stephen Offenbaker. That's Jeff Carr over there. A little bit later in today's show, we're going to dig into the leadoff hitter on the Cincinnati Reds and talk about why it might be time to make a change. Stick around for that. Also, a little bit later in today's show, we're going to talk about the power display that has gone on lately down at GABP and ask and answer the question, can you trust the power in the lineup of the Cincinnati Reds? But where we are going to begin is with Rhett Lowder, who delivered his longest start of his career, deepest into a ball game, went 6 2/3 for the first time in his big league career. And Jeff, I think when you're talking about Rhett Lowder, it's very easy to want him to be Chase Burns. It's very easy to want him to be Hunter Green. It's very easy to look at him and say, okay, he was highly touted, #1 draft pick. He should be out there striking out 12 guys per 9 inning, walking less than 3. He should be right there. The thing is, he's not those guys. He's a different style of pitcher. And when you look at his line, just from yesterday's game, 6 2/3, 3 runs, I'll take that from a guy that's #4 in the Reds rotation.
Especially right now. Like, I think that we will continue to see him get better and better. And that third run came off of an inherited runner where he left the ball game. Brock Burke came in, gave up a single, and immediately that run was charged to Rhett Lowder. But this was the quintessential Rhett Lowder game. He had all 4 of his pitches working. All 4 of his pitches were thrown at least 20% of the time. We're not talking about a situation where he features one pitch and then sprinkles in little things here and there. He throws all of his pitches at any given moment, at any count, any inning, any batter. And I thought that John Sadak put it perfectly whenever he was talking about Rhett Lowder during the game on Wednesday night, when he said that Rhett Lowder is strategically random because he is so very effective at throwing whatever pitch, wherever in the zone on whatever count, and you cannot predict him. You cannot plan for what he is throwing at you. And I've always talked about his profile as a pitcher being one that I love. He's a thinking man's pitcher. It's not about the stuff. It's about how he commands it, where he puts it, and how he outthinks the guy at the plate. And he was doing that so well Wednesday night.
You know, it hit me during the game. And by all means, I'm not saying that Rhett Lowder is this guy I'm about to talk about. But it made me think just a little bit about Greg Maddux. Because as they were talking, I was forced to listen to the Giants broadcast yesterday, folks, because I live in Hawaii and I'm not allowed nice things out here sometimes. And every West Coast team is blacked out and it's a whole thing. So I had to watch the Giants broadcast. And they were talking about how
you're
Rhett
drinking
Lowder,
a drink out of a pineapple, right?
Well, there is that also. But the Giants crew was talking about the fact that, you know, Rhett Lowder lives on the edges, uses the command, doesn't overpower guys. Fastball sits at around 94. But to your point, you know, a thinking man's pitcher, a guy that uses command. And that's Maddux like, you know, live around the edges, live in the fringes, you know, make guys swing at pitches they wouldn't necessarily swing at. He's that type of pitcher. You know, and in this day and age of maximum effort, maximum spin rate, maximum elbow injury, I love having a guy on this staff that just goes out there and pitches smart. It's been a while since we've had a true finesse pitcher in the organization that wasn't out there just trying to overpower everybody. And I'm here for it. I love what Rhett Lowder is doing right now. And he's only going to get better.
Right. No, I agree with you. And the quintessential inning of Rhett Lowder for me was the 5th. He goes 1, 2, 3 on 7 pitches. But before he got that first out, he was 2-0 to Daniel Susak, who was the only guy that had brought in runs for the Giants to that point in the game. And you're thinking, oh, 2-0 to this guy. Is he going to just walk him? Is this going to be the inning where things start to unravel a little bit? Because he didn't pitch all that well in Miami. How does he bounce back here against the Giants? And on a 2-0 pitch, he gets a weak ground ball that gets an out. And then the very next pitch, he gets a weak fly ball that gets the second out. Then it takes him 2 more pitches, and he's out of the inning. It was the kind of performance in that one inning that tells you everything you need to know about Rhett Lowder, and that is he can get an out at any given moment. He doesn't have to strike a guy out. He doesn't have to miss bats to get the outs. He can put them where the hitter is going to try to swing at it, but he's not going to barrel it up. And I think that having guys like Rhett Lowder on your staff is every bit as important as having guys like Burns and Green on your staff, where it's like, yeah, those guys will get the strikeout numbers. They'll probably get the Cy Young love, but you also have guys like Rhett Lowder that you can count on every fifth day. And he, for me, underscores how much faith and trust we had in the starting rotation, because he was a guy that if everybody is healthy, the argument was he was going to start the year in Louisville. But here he is pitching every fifth day and doing it really well, to the point that, you know, it's probably going to work itself out by the time that Hunter Green is healthy. But Rhett Lowder deserves to stick on this staff.
Yeah, and talking about a guy that's the number 4 guy in the Reds rotation right now, where he lands when all the dust settles, that remains to be seen. But from your number 4 starter, if I told you that he's going to go out there and give you between 5 1/3 and 6 2/3 innings, he'll allow some hits along the way, won't give up any more than 4 runs in any of those starts, and will strike out twice as many people as he walks, you would take that on a regular, consistent basis. And that's exactly who Rhett Lowder is. Just if you look at his last 3 starts, 6 innings against Texas, 5 1/3 against Miami, 6 2/3 against San Francisco. The worst of those starts was the start down in Miami, where he allowed 4 runs on 8 hits. But beyond that, he struck out 4 today, or yesterday rather, struck out 4 yesterday, walked only 1. In that start in Texas, he struck out 4, walked 2, 3 hits, no runs in the Texas start. 5 hits, 3 runs. And again, you talked about the 1 being kind of a gimme off of Brock Burke. So I will take that. The consistency that is there, the reliability that is there. And we're going to talk about here in a little bit about the power in this Reds lineup and if we can trust it. And when you talk about the scoring and you talk about a pitcher like Rhett Lowder, if he can keep the other team contained to 3 runs, you feel like the Reds are in every single ball game where he takes them out.
And I think that the hard part about this is we want him to be Chase Burns and Hunter Green. We want him to have 200 strikeouts and to be at the top of the Cy Young race. But
never going to be that guy.
He's never going to be that guy, but this is the kind of guy that you need to get to the playoffs. I think we have an interesting conversation once the playoffs come around. Is Rhett Lowder a starter? Is he going to be in the bullpen? What does that look like? But when you're talking about the 162, if you're getting 30 starts out of this guy, like all 30 teams are signing up for a guy like this, and they would pay good money for, like, if we're talking in a few years, this is the career that he's putting together. If the Reds don't have him signed, he's going to be highly coveted. And there's going to be a lot of teams lining up to come get him, because this is the kind of dude that every single team wants in their starting staff.
Yeah. And if you think about him, you know, in the long term of it all, and I know he lost a season to injury, but there's a much better likelihood of his arm remaining healthy as we move forward, because he doesn't pitch with that maximum effort and velocity, and because
very repeatable mechanics too.
Yeah. You know, he's got that kind of quarter delivery. So almost coming across. I like what the future holds for Rhett Lowder. I like his ability to be something different, because think about it. As you structure a rotation where everybody's healthy and everybody's available, if you put him somewhere between a Hunter Green or a Chase Burns, between a hard thrower, and then you get a Rhett Lowder, and then you come with another hard thrower in say a short playoff series, you keep the hitters off balance. They get adjusted to the speed, and then you throw Rhett Lowder at them where they've got to focus on the peripheral and the edges, and then you come back at them the next day with another guy throwing 100 miles an hour. I love when you can construct a rotation that keeps the opposing hitters off balance. And Rhett Lowder allows you to do that.
Well, you know, Steve, it's April, so it's early. And we're trying to think about what we can trust. But I'll tell you this. You can trust the power in the Cincinnati Reds lineup.
If you've ever opened your bank account and thought, where did all my money go? You are not alone. Keeping track of subscriptions, spending, and bills can get overwhelming fast. That's where Rocket Money comes in, helping you take control of your finances all in one place. It tracks all your subscriptions in one spot and can help you cancel the ones that you don't need with just a few taps. It automatically categorizes your spending so that you can actually see where your money is going, and you can set budgets, get alerts, and stay on top of your incoming bills. It just makes everything feel more organized and gives you a clearer picture of your finances day to day. Rocket Money is the personal finance app that helps find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon.
Thank you for making Locked On Reds part of your day and making us your first listen every single day. Look, you already make Locked On Reds part of your day. Now take it up a notch and go ad-free. Go to lockedonreds.supercast.com to learn about the Locked On Reds Everydayer Club. You can join for $5 a month or $50 for a whole year. Get an ad-free feed and a members-only group chat with everyone in the Locked On Podcast Network. So much more. Check out the link in the show description to learn more. All right, Steve, with the great pitching performance from Rhett Lowder came the power in the bats, and Sal Stewart, once again, just absolutely going crazy. Multi-homer game, both of them Oppo Taco. Dude loves hitting himself a ball to right field, especially at Great American Ballpark, but he hits 2 homers. Gino gets in on the action with another homer, and Ellie De La Cruz hits the longest home run of the season for the Cincinnati Reds as they hit 4 bombs in total. Steve, that's almost as half as many as the Giants have in the entire season, and the Reds did it in one game. They're now up to 21 bombs so far this year. And I think the thing that we've got to ask ourselves is this sustainable? Because I feel like it is.
I really think it is. First of all, can we just talk for just a second about the week that Sal Stewart has had? Just 7 games. 7 games, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs, 280, 379, 920. That's just the last week, folks. The power from Sal Stewart is real. He showed flashes of it through the minors. He showed flashes of it last year. Terry Francona believed in it. Sal Stewart put in the work. He put in the effort. He put in all of the activities he needed to in the offseason. Became the number 4 hitter his rookie year right out of the gate, and this is why. Terry Francona saw it. He believed in it, and here we are. The rest of the power in this lineup is proven. You know, Eugenio Suarez had 49 home runs twice in his career. He's a better than 30 home run guy a lot of times in his career. He's proved it. He's done it. It's there. Other guys in this lineup are power in batches kind of guys. A good example of that is Spencer Steer. He'll struggle at times. He'll run into a bunch at times. We've seen that over his career, but he hit 20 home runs last season. He is going to hit you some home runs. Matt McLain is starting to show signs. Like I keep feeling like he's right there. He hasn't quite gotten there, but I feel like he's right there. Those home run numbers will come eventually as well. I think he hit 15. I don't have him in front of me, but 15 home runs last season, something like that. He's got a little bit of power in his bat as well. So when you start looking at, are there unproven power guys? All of these guys have done it at a certain level before. I believe the power is real. So you take that into consideration when you look at this lineup and you think to yourself, yeah, they're going to be able to score runs. And this is why I was saying when Rhett Lowder, he keeps the opposing team held to 3 runs every time out. They're going to win a lot of ball games because this team is going to score runs.
Yeah, they haven't really begun to go outside of Ellie and Sal. Like, it's great to see Gino with a 3-for-4 night. We were kind of joking about that off air. Like, hey, got his batting average above 250. Let's see what people say about that. But when it comes to this lineup, they haven't begun to put it all together just yet. It seemed like it started to go on Wednesday night a little bit because you had multiple guys on base both times that Sal hit his bombs. They were not just 2 solo shots. They were 2 3-run bombs. And so he was absolutely providing all of the fireworks against the Giants last night. He beat them single-handedly. But I think that when you look at guys like McLain and his bat, it's going to come around. Whatever that might be. If it's not the home runs, it's going to be the extra base power, but it's also going to be the impact hits that he's going to have. Spencer Steer also, like, outside of a couple of bombs, hasn't really put it all together, though. He had a great moment against the relief pitcher for the Giants in JT Brubaker last night, where if you missed that whole exchange, he called a late time that JT Brubaker did not think he should get. And so then the next pitch, Spencer Steer laces a single into left field. And there was a great camera shot of Spencer Steer basically just saying, hey, stop talking and throw the ball. And then he hits a single off him. That was great.
If you haven't seen that yet, go look at it because it's likely the Reds might take that down, but it's really good.
Yeah, there was some words in there we're not going to repeat, but you can read Spencer Steer's lips before he gets the hit. But there are guys that they're starting to heat up. It feels like this lineup is going to be better than what we have seen so far. And does that mean it's going to be 8 runs a game? No, but I think that the 5 runs a game is very, very likely to happen.
You know, you look at some of the guys. I mean, do we think Matt McLain's better than a 203 batting average? Yeah, I do. Do we think that, Spencer Steer is better than a 207 batting average? Yeah, definitely. Do we think Tyler Stevenson's better than 175? Yeah, definitely. I think. I'll leave. I won't even talk about Key Brian Hayes. But you look at you look at those guys, and those guys are all going to hit more than they're hitting right now. The hits will come. And if you get anything out of a couple other guys in this lineup, if you get anything out of Key Brian Hayes, if you get anything out of whoever is playing right field at any given time, if you get anything remotely close to what you're getting out of Eugenio Suarez right now for a sustained period, if he can hit 250 and give you a home run a series, I'll take that all season long. I believe in this lineup. There are some problems in it. We're going to get into that in the next segment, but you look up and down this lineup, there is room for improvement. There's room for guys to go on heaters. There's room for the average runs per game. What did we talk about in the offseason? You wanted them between 4 and 5, right? If they could
4.5 runs per game. Yep.
If they could get to 4.5 average runs per game, they're going to win a ton of ball games. I think this lineup is definitely capable of getting you your 4.5.
Well, and the other thing too, the power being real is so key because last year we talked about they did not have the ability to change the game in one swing. We saw it Tuesday night. They needed 2 swings. Honestly, they only needed 2 swings on Wednesday night. They got a couple more for good measure, but the home runs changed the ball game so drastically. As we always like to joke, rally killers, whatever they might be. It is so key. That difference in the lineup. Is the lineup better on a holistic look right now? Not really, because the way that they've started the years have been really slow, except for the long ball, because they're able to hit the long ball when they need it. I mean, thinking about Tyler Stevenson in Texas, thinking about a couple of key moments in the series with the Red Sox, it was all about the long ball, and that is what you can count on from this lineup moving forward.
Yeah, that element completely lacked last season. There was really nobody that when they would come up in the lineup, you would be like, well, they could win the game right here. Ellie was that guy until he got hurt. And then once Ellie got hurt, there was really nobody else to lean into. And just as an aside, do you think, Jeff, that anytime in the future, if Tyler Mahle is scheduled to pitch and it falls on a day that they're at Great American Ballpark, you think he'll just tell the manager, no, Skip, you got to skip me. I got this thing. I'll be ready next series.
I got a
Great American Ballpark does not love Tyler Mahle.
We were talking about that, looking at him, like, even think about his best season as a Red back in 2021. In 15 starts at Great American Ballpark, he had a 5.6 ERA, 2.3 ERA in 18 starts on the road for Tyler Mahle that year. Yeah, he doesn't like pitching at Great American. I think he's going to find any reason. Like, I'm thinking like Michael Scott from The Office. You'd be like, I got a protuberance on my elbow.
Exactly like that. Exactly like that. But back to this lineup, just as we kind of wrap this up a little bit, Jeff, I do want to ask you, who do you think finishes with more home runs? Is it going to be Ellie or is it going to be Sal? Because this is going to be a fun 1-2 punch for the rest of the season to watch.
I don't know, because right now Sal's ahead of him. I think at some point there's going to be an adjustment period he's got to go through. But even still, the way that he approaches his at-bats, like the home runs that he is hitting, and I saw Charlie Goldsmith tweet out this stat last night, he's got 6 opposite field home runs this year. No player for the Reds had 6 opposite field home runs all of 2025. And Sal's done it, and we're not even halfway through April. Well, I think we're officially halfway through April now. So thinking about all of that is just so wild to me because he's not doing it
when he's late on the ball, Jeff. What's it going to be like when he gets his timing?
It's not as if he's getting like fat pitches in the middle of the zone that he's pulling out of the ballpark. They're all going oppo taco. So when he starts pulling the ball, I don't know. It's really hard to say that Ellie's going to hit more than Sal. It kind of feels like Sal. You know what? You did it with Tyler Stevenson. I'll let you do it with Sal.
How many is Sal going to hit? Sal will finish the year with 27 home runs.
Okay, so you didn't do. I thought you were going to do the Tyler Stevenson bit. I thought.
No. My man Ty Steve. I reserved the number 40 just for my man Ty Steve. Sal will hit 27. But listen, Jeff, as fun as the power surge has been,
Lynn Ellie's hitting more than that.
For the power surge to be effective, you've got to set the table. There's got to be a guys on base, and there has been a problem thus far in 2026 with the leadoff hitter setting the table. We're going to talk about that coming up next.
Workplace chaos. You got deadlines stacking up. You got your inbox overflowing, and that one position that you have to fill, it's still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. Skills, experience, location, and so much more. So you're not just hoping that the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's the stat that says it all. In the minute that I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of today's show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help you get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on Locked On Reds. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs.
Sal Stewart with 40 right out of the gate. Man, I'd never live that down. If you can't watch us here on YouTube, you can get us on every single audio podcasting platform that's out there. We're on pretty much all of them. If you find one we're not on and you need us to be there, message Jeff. He can probably make that happen for you. All right, Jeff, let's talk leadoff, because as much fun as the power surge has been, guys have to get on base. They have to be able to be driven in to give those RBI opportunities. Thus far, the Reds have gone a whole lot with TJ Friedl. And I'm wondering at this point if TJ Friedl and his 159 batting average should not be moved elsewhere in the lineup. I think it might be time to make a change at the top of the order.
Well, it's not even the 159 batting average that has me the most concern with TJ. It's everything else. I mean, he's on base percentage is 286. And sure, that's 153 points higher than his batting average, and you'd like to see that kind of a gap. It still means that he's getting the walks and things like that. But at this point, if it's not a walk, what is it? Like, and that means to me, guys are just going to start filling up the zone against TJ Friedl. And when you get to that point, that's where the underlying numbers of quality of contact and all that stuff become really concerning, because he is the bottom of the list when it comes to average exit velocity, the bottom of the list when it comes to hard hit percentage. He's just not hitting the ball very well right now. So it's not even that he's getting super unlucky. It's that everything seems to be slow. The swing, the sprint speed, even like out in the field and all that other stuff. Like, it all seems to be a tick slow for TJ, which kind of begs the question, like, how much longer is he going to be in this spot in the leadoff?
Yeah, I think I'm ready to see some changes. I think my answer, Jeff, is to go straight platoon at this point in center field. If it's a right-handed hitter, TJ Friedl's in the lineup, but I move him down. I'm talking like the 7 spot down, maybe 6, but down. And instead, I'm batting Matt McLain at leadoff. I'm batting Spencer Steer second, and then going Ellie and Sal, because no matter what you do from here on out, Ellie and Stu bat together wherever they are in the lineup. And I don't see them moving Sal out of the 4-hole. So those two guys need to bat together forever from now on. So that's what I do against right-handed. If you go left to talking about a left-handed pitcher, then I go Matt McLain still as our leadoff guy. But then I drop in Dane Myers as the number 2 guy. And then I go Ellie and Sal. So, you use the platoons, but when Dane Myers in, he bats second. When Friedl's in, he bats way down, and you move Spencer Steer up to the 2 spot.
And that's the Ellie and Sal argument, is kind of looking at another point that I've thought about. I don't necessarily know that I'm 100% for it, but there's some teams out there that have done this thing where they're like, our best hitter is going to hit leadoff. And Ellie De La Cruz hitting leadoff would be a lot of fun because we know what he can do when he gets on base. And right now he's hitting the cover off the ball and it just looks amazing. So having him lead off could be a lot of fun, but having Sal Stewart bat second almost sounds as though you're doing a disservice to your line. So I agree with you. I wouldn't see that. I think that the Reds did something interesting too, where you talk about straight platoon in center field with TJ and Dane Myers that supports this idea. Because last night in the win against the Giants, where the game was not like foregone conclusion, but it was pretty well out of hand in the 9th inning, they still made a defensive substitution where they brought Dane Myers in to play center field and they moved TJ Friedl over to left. Now they just took Spencer Steer out. They left Sal Stewart at first. But the whole point being, they still feel like their best defensive center fielder is Dane Myers. At what point does that not even be a straight platoon? At what point does that mean that TJ Friedl then becomes part of the corner outfield platoons?
Well, when Dane Myers learns how to hit right-handed pitching, that's when. Because right now you can't have him out there against. Now, if you want to platoon Dane Myers and Will Benson, you could do that. It could be a different platoon, but Dane Myers is going to have to platoon until he learns to hit right-handed pitching. There's just no way around that.
I think it's interesting because – his first couple of hits this season came against right-handed pitching. I'm talking about Dane Myers. And as of right now, in 11 at-bats against righties, he has 5 hits. Now, that's too tiny of a sample size to make any determination about whatsoever, but I would like to see more of him, specifically against lefties, but getting more of a run because it just feels like everything that we are worried about with TJ Friedl, Dane Myers seems to be working at that part in the game, like the base running, the fielding, even Dane Myers' arm. Dane Myers has an arm, and I would love to see more of that out in the outfield. But I think that you're right, and I'm typically more conservative when it comes to making a change like this. So I think that I'd still give TJ a little bit more of a run and say, okay, give him slightly a bit of benefit of the doubt and say it's still early, maybe he's still trying to get going, I don't know, this, that, or the other. But if we're here mid-May, and he's still getting on base less than 30% of the time, it'd be time.
We're in now April 15th as we record, tax day. Congratulations, everybody. That's not in federal prison for tax evasion. Good job. If you must have used TurboTax, we appreciate. But he has 63 at bats right now. So you want to give him 63 more. So your idea is at 120.
I think he's earned that. I think he's earned that.
If he's still hitting a $159-ish, if his on-base percentage is in this 280 range, then you want to make a move.
And that's the key, the on-base percentage, because we're doing this with Matt McLain. And, I was going to joke around and be like, devil's advocate, Matt McLain's only hitting 50 points better than TJ Friedl is. But it's the on-base percentage, and that's the important part of who is leading off and who's ahead of Ellie, who's ahead of Sal. Are they on base? That's what you want the answer to be. So if he can tick that up, if he can start to, hit some singles where they ain't and get on base a little bit more through more than just the base on balls, because he's going to see a lot more strikes as guys realize that his main avenue for getting on base right now is just keeping his bat on his shoulder, then that's what's going to keep him in this spot. I think he deserves a little bit more of a run, but I'm not saying that we got to go to the All-Star break before we know what we know about him. You're going to need to make a change sooner rather than later.
And normally I would at least entertain that, Jeff, in like, let's wait and see. Let's give it time. Let's. Here's my problem this year. We know that this team has to amass a win total before we get to September. They do not have it's April, let's figure it out luxury, because September is going to kick them in the teeth. So if there's changes that need to be made, make them now. And 159 as your leadoff hitter, the 280 on base percentage, I'd rather go with the guy that's got an on base percentage of 354. That's Matt McLain. I'd rather move him up and get guys in better positions to be successful. I'm not saying bench TJ Friedl. You're still going to play him against right-handed pitching, but you're going to move him down in the lineup. You're going to put him in a better spot to have some success. And then if he figures it out, you make adjustments. But this thing they did with Matt McLain last year, where you just keep running him out there and hoping that you finally get to a different result that never truly comes. And then you look around and go, well, maybe we waited too long. Well, that's not acceptable this year. This is the year to find success. This is the year to manufacture wins, to manufacture runs, to manufacture success. And they can't do that sitting on their hands. And I think they need to make a switch now.
I've not seen any sort of corny marketing material for the Reds just yet. So if it's out there and I've missed it, I'm sorry. But you know, those things like teams like to do, like, why not us? Or hashtag sneak on in.
Mm-hmm.
Their corny things should be the time is now. So I think you're right. The time is now to go for the division, to get the wins, and to move forward in the postseason. And if you're not setting yourself up for it right now, then you really should be making changes. And that is where we'll end today's podcast. Great win for the Redlegs. Chance for a sweep today. Get the brooms going. Really excited to see that. We're going to be all over it on the next Locked On Reds podcast. So we break down the Giants series and look ahead to a road trip where the Reds are going to play the hottest team in the American League, which I did not think would be how we describe the Minnesota Twins, but that is what it is. Yeah, go figure on that one. We got you covered. I thought it was going to make it. Take it away.
That's going to do it for this edition of Locked On Reds. We'll be back in your feeds, as Jeff said, bringing you all of the news, the notes, the rumors, and the reports to keep you locked on Reds every single day.
Had it right there. Just missed it.
Well, you made it the whole show almost.